Everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you are here. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm Angel and I enjoy doing content in the arena of all things living in a lifestyle enriched in motivation, inspiration, and mentorship. And I'm so glad that you are joining me today because we have, I think, an interesting topic that I really wanted to cover with my favorite special guest. You probably know who it is, but if not, I'll be showing her in just a second. But I definitely wanted to share that I'm excited about this particular topic, and I hope that you will be too. We're talking things motivational transition. I think it is something that is extremely important in our everyday life. It is something that we are faced with more times than maybe we can even count. And definitely over the last few years, we have definitely been brought up against the concept of transition and then deciding how we were going to deal with that transition. So I'm very excited about today's video. And again, I hope that you will enjoy. Make sure that you do give this video a like if you are enjoying the content. And please, I would absolutely love you to be a part of the community if you're not already. So go ahead and think about it and then go ahead and do it. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I would so love to have you as part of the community. And for those who have been following along since the beginning of time, hey, I am so excited again that you are sticking out this journey with me. So I think, oh, wait a minute, before we move forward, one thing I am so excited to share that I will be providing a nice little announcement in this video a little later on. So make sure you're staying tuned for the entire video. And, I hope that you will enjoy this announcement. That will be a little bit later. I'm really excited about it. So, yeah. So I think without further ado, we are going to be bringing on our special guest, which will be none other than Mia. So, yeah, I guess we can go ahead and start the show. Hey, Mia!
Hello, how are you?
I am so good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Yeah, oh, you sound a little different like your stereo. Oh my goodness. Well, I was sharing some really exciting news that I will be talking about a little bit later on. And I think you may know about it, but I'll be sharing a little bit of an announcement on today's video. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. But I'm also excited about this topic. I'm also excited about the fact that we're going to be talking again because it's been a little bit of time since we last spoke. So yeah, how's your day been going?
Everything's been going really well.
Oh, good. Yeah, today has been quite a busy day for me. I just actually finished recording a podcast a couple hours ago. And
wow.
I had an epiphany moment on that podcast. And so I'm not going to give away what that moment was. You're just going to have to listen to.
Okay.
And that includes YouTube community. If you don't normally listen to podcasts, maybe you'll give this one a try. I do have a podcast titled Motivation Suite. And there's actually some links down below in the description area that you can actually tag yourself right on in. The podcast is available on all streaming platforms. So for podcasts, so yeah. The title of the one that I had, the Epiphany, is basically an area where we're covering what we would do if fear was not a issue and if failure wouldn't exist in that particular area of choice. So yeah. Listen to the words epiphany and then you'll hear it and you'll know it when that video pops up onto the platform, or excuse me, not the video, the actual podcast pops on the platform. I'm kind of just like right here because I'm really still in that epiphany moment. So yes, I guess we'll go ahead and get started with ours today. So this was an interesting topic and it kind of came to me a couple of days ago. And I just thought, I really want to go in a little bit more into the concept of motivation. One thing about motivation, I think that some individuals get stuck on, or that I hear repetitively in the not direction of positivity, is that there is some sense of feeling attached to motivation. And I've been wanting to feel that, motivation really doesn't have to have a feeling assigned to it. It really just has to have some action towards it. When you look at the root word of motivation, it's motivate. And when I hear the word motivate, I think of action taking. I think of that I have come to a point where I know that I need to make a step. And now that I am motivated to do that, I am geared up. I'm hopefully excited, maybe a little fearful. We don't know. But, I know that something has to happen, right? Things don't manifest unless action has been taken. And I think sometimes people can get themselves caught up in the concept of having to feel a certain way about it, or beating themselves up when there comes a day in the process, which will happen, by the way, where you may feel less inclined to do an action in order to get you to whatever goal or objective that you're trying to meet. And I think that it's so important to start to break down some of those barriers and feel like you should be upset with yourself if you're not always excited about everything that you have to do. Because the bottom line is, anything that's worth having or anything that you feel so dear to have or to achieve is going to take work, and you may not always be so happy about it. So when I think about motivational transition, I'm looking more towards not even just only the action of going to that next level, but I'm also looking at your attitudes and your feelings about what needs to come into play when it is about that next goal, that next step, right? So now, you heard me say that as far as motivation, you don't need to have a feeling to it. But a transition, you probably would, because there needs to be something that kind of gets you going to do it. And I think, with everything in life, transition is such a important aspect. It is something that, we always are going to be doing, even when we're not focusing so much on it. So, with that kind of opening it up, what are your thoughts, Mia, about motivational transition?
Well, hello to the community. It's great to see each and every one of you again. It's been a while, and I hope that everybody's doing great. So when we think about motivation transition, I know for me, I think about when you look at motivation, you talked a little bit about the emotion and the feelings that sometimes are tied to that. I think that there are times in our life when we allow our motivation to be stunted, and we let those emotions and those feelings be stuck points. So it's important for us to be able to identify what those stuck points are, what those emotions are that are tied to those different things in our life, and be able to really, if you will, just really turn those things around so that we can move forward and not allow those motivational moments in our life to keep from happening. And a lot of times we do, because of our feelings, because of our emotions, but those things are so temporary. And those things that motivate us should be something that's more stagnant, aware of not being able to happen. And we want to make sure that we're continually doing things that are moving us forward.
Right. And I think that's a really good point that you make. At the end of the day, when you are faced with dealing with transition or change of any type, there are moments where if you cannot get yourself to a certain point, being your attitude about the situation, you find yourself in a position where you may feel stuck, either frozen in time because you don't really know what the next move is going to be, and you're probably scared out of your mind that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to do something, and how am I going to get through that? How am I going to be able to move through that? And it can really kind of throw in that fear factor, which we talk so much about in trying to overcome. When I often say, when it comes to things that are challenges or your fears, and we all are a party to that, myself as well, it's an everyday action sometimes to kind of push away some of those fears and push through. That's been kind of my motto since the end of last year, really going into this year, is that you're just going to do it. That's just what it's going to be, and the rest will work itself out. But one of my greatest fears, really, I guess, when I speak on that, is being stuck, is being in a position where you feel you cannot move forward, or that you don't really know what direction to take. And I think that sometimes we get into a balled up position and not be on the anxiety part of moving forward, that we don't move in successful motion. And when you're dealing with a transition that you are not wantingly or willingly wanting to go through, where it's kind of forced upon you and you have to make that move, it can really become an impediment to that next action or that next element to get you where you need to get to. I really like the there's a quote out there that says, when you want to do something, do it scared if that's what you need to do. But just do it, just take that leap and make some adjustments if need be. But, when I think about the attitudes and stuff about transition, because I tell you what, we've had a lot over the last few years to, I guess, have an attitude about. But I do think it's important to kind of start finding ways to ground ourselves, especially when we are in such a moment of time where things are so up in the air and so all over the place. And I think a lot of us probably may have felt our footing yanked from underneath us in ways that we could never have imagined, in ways that we thought were already dealt with and didn't need to be revisited again. And that could be so many, facets, whether it's personally or professionally or societally. I mean, we're affected by it all. I mean, at the end of the day, we have breaking news 24/7. So, there's a lot of things that we have to take into stock that really does affect our day-to-day lives. And I think sometimes, when you're looking at transitioning, it can just sometimes be easier just to kind of just sit in one place and don't move. Maybe life will just wash over and you'll just keep on going. But I don't think that you will find much success in life with that. And so I key in a lot at that point that you made about the feeling stuck. Because I think when you are in a position when you feel stuck, the hopelessness may come into that way. And it's kind of just this spiral effect, if you will, that is not going to be really helpful either way. I kind of feel like it's like a hole that you're digging yourself into more. And all of that will kind of cloud you from really seeing a path into moving into that new phase in life. Because we all have to move through a new phase in life. So yeah, it's just interesting, talking about the concept of transition and really what that means. So I'm wondering, Mia, like, how do you feel, or do you feel like the concept of transition for you has changed in some way or another in the last few years?
That's a great question, and I would definitely say yes. For me, it really goes back to expectation management, because you going into something, you have certain expectations, and you need to be able to manage those expectations while you're going through and give yourself permission to adjust. Yes. Sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to adjust or to have a little wiggle room or to allow for those unforeseen things that maybe we didn't plan for. Yes. And when those things come up, I know for me personally, if those things come up, sometimes I'm like, oh man, I failed. I can't get back on track. This is it. And really, that's not necessarily the case. So for me, I really believe expectation management is really important. And absolutely, these past few years, I've had a lot of big transactions that have, happened in my life. And I believe that as I've matured, that I handle those things differently a lot now than maybe I would have 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So I believe that because of my life experiences and the maturity that I've had, that it has helped me to really be able to regulate those emotions, to be more control of my thoughts and how I respond, because it's really all about how you respond. That expectation management helps to really control how you respond to certain things. And so today I would respond a whole lot differently than what I would have even maybe a year ago. Because I understand the ramifications of my response, and that oftentimes your response can open up the door to other things that maybe you aren't necessarily prepared for. So you have to think about all of those things. All of those things are very important.
Yeah. Oh, you made some really good points there. I love it. I love the transparency in that. Yeah, definitely. Expectation management is a key point when it comes to transition. Most definitely. I think that sometimes, we, and me and you both probably speak to this for our own personal experiences. We've been in a lot of positions where much has been required of us, much has been expected of us. And we have, I think, swimmingly, if I do say so myself, for both of us, have met up with the challenges that we needed to do in order to move forward. And, when we look at the aspects of managing your expectations, that can be a little bit tricky sometimes when you're used to taking on so much, and being the focal point, and then sometimes being the one doing it as well. You're doing the operation of it as well. And, so my motivation attached to that transition usually is just about go, go, go. And if you ask me, well, how did you feel about that? I don't know.
Hey there, I hope that you're enjoying today's video thus far, because we're really getting into this whole thing of motivational transition. But I wanted to pop on just real quick, think of it as a little bit of an intermission, to share the announcement that I said that I was going to share in this video. So I'm so glad you're stuck around so far, and I hope that you will continue to stick around through the finale of this video, because we are really getting into a lot of great information that I really hope that is helpful, and just kind of gives you a different perspective on things, and and how you want to really move forward and doing your goals and your objectives and all those wonderful things, and just really being the certain state of mind that helps you to progress in a way that is conducive for you. But so I am so excited for this announcement, and the announcement is Motivation Suite has decided to make an adjustment to what has been going on and building up with this wonderful exploratory journey has been thus far. And I now have my own online shop. Yay! I'm so excited to share about that. Now, one of the things, if you've been following me for a while, or if you're now starting to follow me, and you will concede for me to continue that, I enjoy anything that is about positive speak. Right? Positive speak is so important. There's a cornerstone of communication. It's so important to have a dialogue that sets the tone for you to have an achievable day, and really just makes you feel good for yourself and allows you to really step forward in your day in the best way. And I thought, how would I put all that together into a particular element that I like to call them, that captures that? And of course, coming up with merchandise that shares in a lot of those positive speak and positive dialogue is definitely Motivation Suite wasn't born. So I'm just so excited to be sharing Motivation Suite with you right now. I mean, it has been something that I've wanted to do for so long. So that being said, I actually have a sale going on right now. That's right. I have a promo code. I'm going to pop up on the screen for you. So if you use promo code SCHOOL10, okay, until 31st July at 11:59 p.m. Eastern, that will be available. You make sure you plug that code in the checkout area in order to get yourself 10% off. So, school time is coming, but this is a site-wide sale. So anything on there, 10% off. So I hope that you enjoy those finds out there, and I hope that you will take a look at what is to be offered there at Motivation Suite Elements. I'm so excited to be sharing this. This has been a long-standing really dream of mine to be able to do. So I'm very happy and blessed to have this opportunity. And yeah, it's definitely been another labor of love. So I definitely think that you should go out there. There's a plethora of elements out there. Just can speak to you, yourself, your loved ones, a special someone. I've got a little bit of everything for everyone. So yeah, we've got so many things there. And I thought maybe it would be really nice to kind of just share a little bit of a sneak peek. So go ahead and take a look at this sneak peek of Motivation Suite Elements. And remember, SCHOOL10 at the promo code at the end. And I do hope that you do take an opportunity to peruse my shop. And yeah, the direct link and everything will be also provided down below in the description area, as always. And yeah, I hope that you will take a look out there. So here you go.
And I went ahead and just did it, and I got to the other side of it. And just knowing, obviously your background and your professional area, definitely, and then there's also your personal areas as well, that there's been different times in our lives that we've experienced where we've had to make some different decisions that may not have been the ones that we wanted to make per se, but look, maybe what got us to that point of making that transition was because of how we were feeling, and we had to follow that up into a motivational aspect to get you going, because I think the inspiration element is out the window. You know what I mean? I think you have already put yourself in a position that I got to make moves, and I got to go, and I got to do what I got to do, and that could obviously carry into any area or aspect of our lives. So yeah, I like the concept of really managing those expectations, and then also taking that forward to when you're managing expectations, you're also managing yourself. And one of those things that I think that keys in on that point is your emotional intelligence. That is a very important facet, a very important element to managing expectations and managing yourself. You talked about, the concept of how your attitude is when you are now faced with whatever it is that you need to complete. And you may have a certain feeling about it, but you may need to, kind of taper in a little bit because you don't want to really show how you feel. You may not be ready to walk
Sure,
through
why
that. Exactly. So I think that having the ability to establish emotional intelligence is also a great way of kind of keeping yourself in check while you're going through those transitions that may be a little bit complicated, challenging, even for the ones that you want to do, right? Not every transition is one that you are dreading to make. Some you are all there, you're ready to go. But some of the steps and the tasks may be a little bit challenging, and you'll have to work through those. But not every transition is a bad transition. You do have to really become a change agent for your life. Otherwise, life will just happen to you instead of you happening in life. And that's another form, in my opinion, of being stuck as well. It's just everything's just happening to you. You feel like you have no control over anything. And there's lots of things that you do have control over. There's lots of things that you don't have control. That's why I keep that serenity prayer with me close by. And I've had to recite parts of it just to get through. When you come into a moment where that might not be working out so well for you, but you got to make it work. So yeah, I think that those are really important aspects. And I think, the last couple of years, more so, you just see some individuals that feel like they've got to just spew all of what they're feeling on the outside. And then what does that get you? Like, to me, I just think it's more turmoil. May not be a whole lot of resolution. I do believe in the squeaky wheel gets the oil or something like that. But I don't think that that's a facet you use in every aspect of your life. I think that's great sometimes in professional settings if you use and target it correctly. I don't think it's always so great in personal settings because nobody wants to be constantly being added every time they turn around. So you have to finesse those things differently. But yeah, looking at how to transition motivationally in a way that's effective for you and effective for that change is really, I think, the true goal. So yeah, definitely setting your expectations and set your expectations like you said, goals, really, right? Manage those expectations and manage goals. You are the only one that really can be your best advocate for you. No one can be that advocate for you. So you're going to have to sometimes take a real hard look at what you're doing, what you're trying to do, and see what your capabilities are, and where you need to make some modifications to. That's why I think that rest concept is good. It will stop you from maybe stopping, and you don't want to do that. So we want to keep it going. So whenever you need to. So yeah, I just think those are some really important areas, and when it comes to that, and I tell you what, these last few years, and I reference that a lot because there's been so much turmoil, so much upheaval in ways that I've never really imagined, and I wish it could have only been just a movie. But it's been real life. Yeah, well, we're gonna get through it, right? This still shall pass. Some people have weathered through it much better than others. A lot of us still have a lot of things that we're still working and still trying to achieve. I think sometimes with upheaval allows for definitely new opportunities. What are your thoughts about that? Do you think that sometimes when you're having so much chaos going on that maybe there could be some ways to come up with that can help you kind of divulge new ways of doing things, or maybe even just creating new ways of existing?
Yes, absolutely. I think that when you feel like you're in a storm, the only thing you can think about is trying to get out of the storm.
Yeah.
But what I'm learning as I'm growing is that while I'm in the storm, what can I get from it? What can I get from the storm that I'm going through? So I think it's all about, your perspective, how you look at things, and just keeping in mind that you're going through. This is not permanent. This is not forever. This is not something that is always going to be.
Yeah.
And there will be an end and a new beginning. So
Yes.
It's all about shifting your mindset so that you don't feel like there's no more hope. This is the only thing that I'm going to get. I don't deserve anything better. And a lot of times people feel that way. And when you start looking at the situation in that aspect, then what you think is what's going to actually come to happen in your life.
Yeah.
What you speak, you're going to start seeing manifest in your life. So you have to really be careful and understand that your words are powerful.
Right.
Your thoughts are powerful.
Yep.
Literally, if I were to sit here and think, nothing good is going to happen to me, everything bad is going to happen to me, nothing positive is going to come into my life, then by golly, that's exactly what's going to happen. But the second I take control and take accountability for my life and start speaking positive things, saying, okay, today's going to be a great day. I'm going to have some wonderful encounters. I'm going to experience some new things. Immediately, that's how things are going to start shifting, and I'm going to start seeing a difference.
Yeah. And that's really important. I often share about that, positive dialogue, internal dialogue, external dialogue are important cornerstones along with the elements of communication. Communication is just as important that you have with yourself that you have with others. It does set you up for your day, your life, really, and how you look at things and how you place things in ways that allow you to move forward and allow you to really just exist. You really have to be very careful and intentional with the things that you say, because you're right. A lot of times it may be kind of hard to grasp, but if that is true, a lot of you have certain fears that you continuously keep talking about or keep resonating with, versus maybe looking at some ways of how you can kind of mitigate that fear element. You start to see how you're kind of manifesting that situation in your space. And you may not even really realize it, but because there's so much focus on that, the energy that is the universe is coming in and saying, okay, this is where we need to lay in this space. And it's, whether you believe in that or not, or, anything that comes to you, I do believe in attraction in the sense that what you put out is what you get. And, that does fall in line with also the way that you conduct internal dialogue with yourself. And notice I say the word internal dialogue because that's more than just speaking just positive words on occasion. Internal dialogue is actually that constant conversation you have with yourself from moment to moment if needed. And I think that just like you have a relationship with a friend or, with your spiritual concept, whatever you believe in, whether it's with a friend or a coworker, whatever the case may be, that communication and that relationship with you is important as well. And when you are doing that, you are getting to know yourself better and able to know what kind of things will help to keep you going through that motivation, going through that transition, and being okay with the next steps. And I think that when we are able to lay down some of that anxiety, and we're able to lay down some things that are not really feeling as what we need to move forward in a progressive way, whether you're enlightened about it or not, it really does make a difference. So I do feel like, like you say about speaking on certain things, that's what you want to manifest, right? That's what you want. So if you want a happy existence, if you want a good life, if you want progression in what you're working on, then speak those words to yourself. And as you're speaking those things, the belief process will kind of work on with it. You have to start the conversation. You have to. And then work on the other one. So yeah. Really important. I like that.
Yes, I mean, honestly, you have to command your day.
Yeah,
You have the authority. I have the
good.
authority to command my day.
Love
If I get
that.
up in the morning and
Mhm.
I'm feeling sluggish, I'm feeling down, maybe even feeling a little sad, I've got to say, oh, absolutely no, this is not how my day is going to go. I'm turning that around. I'm turning my attitude around. And immediately I'll start to see my day change. But
Yeah.
I could stay there.
Right.
I could stay there. You could
Yeah.
stay there. We could stay there. And
Yeah.
then your day is going to be a reflection of that. But it's important
Yes.
for you to understand you have the power to command your day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
I mean, you say that so beautifully because it's true, and I like that. I mean, you should put that as a kind of a, I don't know, hashtag something, slogan it up, and your day. I mean, and doesn't that make you feel like you actually have some power? Because guess what? You
Because you do. You really do. You really do. And I think a lot of times we don't understand or recognize that, you know what? I don't have to be sad. I don't have to be depressed. I don't have to be burdened. That's
Yeah.
not something I have to do. It's a
Yeah.
choice. We
Yeah.
make a choice to do those things.
Yeah, yeah, and sometimes the decisions can be hard and fast sometimes.
Yes. Yes.
But I think that when you are dealing with your intention and really taking the moment to reflect on that, assess it, and start to make those kind of changes, it's never too late. But you need to make the changes. I really hate to see when someone's light is just completely shut out. Where
Hmm.
they feel like there really is no hope in whatever they're doing, and nothing is ever goes right, and nothing ever is. And I think when you do that, and it is, look, I'm not going to say it is not easy to focus on that sometimes, because it can be, but you're missing out on a lot of beauty. You're missing out
Hmm.
on a lot of wonderful moments, because you're so consumed with the fog of that negativity. And
Hmm.
it's so worth you and your sanity even to find ways to break free from that and not staying in that space. No one is saying, that, you won't have these moments, because this is just what life is. You will have those up and down moments. You will have moments that you will reflect upon and kind of get past, and then they may pop
Hmm.
out of nowhere again, a couple months from now, whatever it is, because everybody has their own journey, their own story. But taking the time to try to really beef up, that conversation with yourself, and also being kind to yourself and allowing yourself those moments, but also saying to yourself, as you said, I can't stay here. And even if you have to say those words out loud, I can't stay here. You'd be amazed at how you speak on something, the power that resonates from that. And it will always stay in your mind, okay, I'm upset or I'm sad, and I feel that, I am validated in that, but I can't stay here. So what do I need to do? The next moment, the next 5 minutes, the next day, whatever you need. If you need to take second by second, or minute by minute, or whatnot, whatever you need to kind of start walking your way out of that space. So
Hmm.
yeah, it can be difficult. We're all faced with challenges. I don't think anybody's life is perfect, even for those who want to pretend that it is. That's good for them. But it doesn't exist. There's no such thing. Everybody's got their issues. Everybody got their trials and tribulations they have to come to pass. But a lot of it, for some, it's really just how you handle it, and your attitude is what is attached to that. But they say a problem is what, 90% the problem, 10% the problem, 90% your attitude about the problem. So it'd be nice if I could think about that every time I'm having those problems. Sometimes I think about it, but I would love to always have that thought all the time. And like I said, look, community people, but we're all doing in this together, right? Everybody can take a little bit from the page of things that we say and really work those things. So, but it would be nice. But then sometimes, look, things slip out. And I'm gonna be okay with that, because it happens. But but just remembering that, gotta rear that back in. It will be a lot better for you, and your future self will thank you for it. So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, right? I mean, when it comes to being a change agent in your life, it comes to making those difficult challenges, decision-based situations. You really have to have a plan set forth for yourself, and be ready to do the necessary transitions, and really focus on your attitudes towards that transition and how you can get those aligned with the goal of the action that you need to complete. I think that's really important, because a lot of times,
we put ourselves in a position where we're so connected with the fact that, things are not working and they're not ever going to work out. And that's just not really true. We do go through our challenges. And, I think the best thing is to try to remember that you look at those things as elements to just, come up with a game plan, start tackling those and mitigating some of the effects of those challenges. And then that way you can start to see the light or the clearing, if you will, from the fog of all that negativity. So, because, as I say, negativity is not goodbye. It's not. And positivity, well, look, hey, it is not the enemy. So, say those words, feel those words, because, it's important to really kind of keep things in context. And when you look at, kind of like you said to me about the perspective of things, sometimes you may see things may not be as big as you think they are. If you could take some of the emotion attached out of it, sometimes it might be easier to kind of deal with. But yeah, so this is a great conversation, I thought. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. I think it's very relevant because
Yeah,
a lot of times, we're sitting here having this conversation, but there
right.
may be somebody that's tuning in that's really going through something
Yep.
and they feel like I can't get out of it. You just don't understand. I've been going through this for a year or 5 years, 10 years, and
4
it just
years.
doesn't seem to stop.
Yeah.
But what I would say to that is just to be encouraged that you're not the first person. You're not the only person. You don't have to go through it by yourself. And phone a friend. Phone a friend. Reach out to somebody that has gone through that before that can help you to go through it so you don't have to feel like you're going through it by yourself. Right now, I have the privilege of, having 3 young ladies that I'm mentoring, and each one of them have had some things that they've been going through. And thank goodness they feel that they can come to me and I can support them and help them to walk through it. No, I don't know everything, but because they don't feel like they have to go through it by themselves, it's giving them the courage and the confidence to get through it and to say, you know what, this isn't it for me. This isn't the final story for me. I have another chapter in my life that needs to be written. So I think that it's so important that, when you're going through a transition, that you understand there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, there's going to be waves, there's going to be calm times, but you can get through each and every one of those different phases and come out victorious.
Yeah, really. And that is the name of the game, right? Coming out victorious.
Yes.
Even if you're a little brushed up a little bit, it's okay.
Yes.
Those scrapes will heal. But the joy does come in the morning. I often say that the night may be a little bumpy, but the joy does come in the morning. So, kind of focus on those things and, really just key in on some of those points. I think, for today, we really did cover quite a bit, covered the gamut as far as motivational transition. What exactly, I mean by that, and really focusing on some key points that help us in that process. And, just kind of doing a quick recap of some of those things. We talked about, the dialogue. We talked about how we manage your expectations. We talked about how the fact that you don't have to have it as a feeling, it's just an action. Look at, resting instead of completely giving up, and being kind to yourself, allowing yourself the space in the room that you need to adjust whenever things are not going quite according to plan, in order to continue to move forward. Making sure that you realize that, look, sometimes when it comes to challenges and problems, what did I say that quote was? What the problem is 10%, but your attitude towards it is 90%. So the theme of this is definitely, keying in on your attitude and your ways of how you approach things. So as being shared about perspective, and also talking about the concept of just looking at things from an angle that allows you to maybe not see things so negatively, because you don't want to draw that into you. You want to actually eliminate positive out of the situation, and that's really important to remember. And I think those things will really help you to focus on that motivational transition that you need to get to that next step. And when you look at what kind of things can I do, as far as all those things, well, one thing I would say that's really helpful is self reflection and a self-assessment. Getting to know who you are as a person, getting to know what's important to you and what you value will help you to start to manifest those things, so you are able to have a better attitude towards transitions, especially for the ones that you don't really have a lot of say in that it needs to happen, and just that it needs to happen. I think that, writing down a pros and cons list of certain things can be extremely helpful. Really seeing those words and seeing those things that you need to take care of in a tangible way can really get you to kind of embrace those elements. I think those are really important. And just really taking the time to, maybe list what your core values are. I did a podcast on core values and how you can go about creating that for yourself if you don't already. A lot of times we hear about core values, it's usually associated with professional aspects. Well, you can have core values for your own personal life as well. The value system that you live by and that you actually take action in. And I think all those types of things together, coming together, will help in how you choose to move forward and transition for what you need. And remembering that you are your best advocate, right? You know what works best for you. And so therefore, when you have a really good sense of self, you will be much easier to kind of move forward and what works best for you in that transition, whether you want to make the transition or not, or if you want to be willingly excited to make the transition, but then feel a little overwhelmed on the steps that you make the transition, but and still knowing that you have to make it. So yeah, I really got a chance to talk about this. I think it's like a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Is there anything else that you wanted to add to today's conversation?
This has been a very rich conversation. I would just say that, regardless of what type of transition you're going through, just to remember to stay motivated.
Yes.
Stay motivated and to reward yourself, celebrate the successes, and just keep going.
Absolutely. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And community, of course, we definitely want to know your thoughts about motivational transition. What do you think about motivational transition? What does motivational transition mean to you? And I would love to know that. So drop those things in the comment section. I'd love to see, some communication surrounding those areas. What kind of aspects you think are important in aligning with being motivated, even if you don't feel it so much, in order to move forward. Another thing that just came to mind, I think about is, remembering your why. That's a very powerful action taking element, remembering your why. Sometimes what associates with that is that, I'm going to do whatever I need to do irregardless because I have a why that I need to obtain. I have things that I need to take care of in order to make sure I satisfy that why. And that can be a very powerful element when it comes to motivation. So what is it that you do? I would love to know, so please share in the comment section and make sure that you are, part of the motivation community. There's so many ways to do that. One is starting by subscribing here, be part of the family here. Would love to absolutely have you. I enjoy these conversations with you. We actually have something coming down the pipe a little bit later on, but I'm not going to start right now. But there will definitely be an announcement of it made. In addition to the announcement, I'm going to be having, you actually already heard because I've already given it to you in this video. But yeah, we will be having one that includes me and Mia, and I'm excited for it. I hope Mia's excited. Mia, are you excited?
I am very excited.
It's been a long time coming, but we'll talk more about those things later. But Mia, do you have any last words before we bid everybody adieu?
I think we have covered it all.
All right, I am with you on that. So again, everybody, from me to all of you, and I'm sure for me as well, I just want to wish you all a blessed rest of your week. And I hope that you will do whatever your heart it tells you to do, and do it motivatingly. And we will see you next time. Be blessed. Take care. Bye.